Welcome everybody in America, overseas, because we got the overseas listeners. Welcome to Gas Presents Sports for the Culture. We are here for the culture. We are here on election nights. It is a big night for the world, for the country, but it's even bigger night in sports because we here and we about to get into it. Let me go ahead and introduce the gang. Let me go ahead and introduce myself first. I'm my host for the evening. My name is Scruff Lion. Yeah, go ahead and see me on the app right here over here. This way, one of them, Jones. Either way, gang, go ahead and introduce yourself. Top right, go first.
At Bryce XXV double I, aka Mr. Big Leaguer, aka GOE. That's gas over everything, baby. Hey, Rome wanted to be here tonight, but he's stuck in a an election poll line right now, so he's still in line trying to get his vote in, man. Voter suppression is real. Don't let them suppress your vote, because I'm happy to see everybody got out there to the polls. Hey, man, enjoy the circus tonight, and then enjoy us for now. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, get that thing in that mailbox. It's already done. Bottom right, T. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
T Boogie, man. Same thing with me. Wash your hands, wash your ass. Hopefully everybody went out there and exercised their choice. You know what I'm saying? And didn't sit back and watch whatever happens tonight happen. And thanks for rocking with us. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Last but not least, bottom left.
Well, if you're from the state of New Jersey, any viewers, congratulations, because right now we could smoke marijuana because it's officially, we could smoke in the state of New Jersey. Shout out to all the voters. You are the real MVP for tonight.
Yes, yes, yes. We may not be able to agree on much, but New Jerseyans, we can agree on that. Thank you, New Jersey. Yeah, but we got to go good set of topics for this evening. First off, we're gonna jump right into it with probably one of the biggest knockouts of 2020, you could say. My man got hit with that boom, crazy undercut. We're talking about Gervonta Davis came out with the move. Oh my, and then that sweet chin music, and that boy was out cold within seconds, probably before he even hit the ground. So what was y'all initial reactions of that knockout? Because it was an instant clip on Twitter and all the social media is keeping me entertained. G, why don't you jump in first?
It reminded me of a Manny Pacquiao kind of lefty, because God lead that left hand, that's a tank, literally. His nickname defines that hand right there. That left hand is a monster. Wow, I haven't seen that since Manny from a lefty to have that much knockout power. Because he didn't really even cock it back. He just went back a little and then boom, straight to the dome. The way his position because what I was hearing the scorecards was just like it was kind of even, and then just that knockout himself. Wow, I'm still like as shocked because I haven't seen a knockout from a lefty in a while.
Right, that was a big time knockout. T, did you get a chance to see the knockout? What'd you think?
Man, yes, sir, man. I was streaming that thing via cell phone because I couldn't be in the spot to watch it. But man, that left hand uppercut was crazy, and he threw it a couple times, and that one just landed flush. I mean, it was lights out before he hit the mat. I was worried for a second, man. I thought they was gonna have to rush him to the ER or something. He wasn't moving. His leg was bent back. You know, it looked like he got hit with a sniper, like sniper rifle got him. It's a big time knockout, big time punch.
Yeah, big time punch from a big time hitter. Bryce, I know you gets into it with the boxing, man. What was your thoughts on that Davis knockout?
Hey, man, shout out to my guy T Boogie, aka the Link God, man. He done hit me off with a few links in the past few pay-per-views. I don't know where he finds the links, but my man stays with him. He ain't get me this time because I paid for this one. But now hell of a fight, man. Hell of a fight. Gervonta Davis, cementing himself as one of the young stars in the game. Leo Santa Cruz was no slouch. Everyone that was with me while I was watching the fight, I kept telling them, Leo Santa Cruz is legit. You talking about a guy that was 37, I believe 37, 1-1. And he applied that pressure. He applied that constant pressure to Gervonta Davis. And that was the most I ever seen Gervonta really get hit. I mean, the most I ever seen him lumped up. And, they say pressure bursts pipes. But in this case, the only thing that got bursted was Leo Santa Cruz's chin, man. It was crazy. It was crazy, man. Unbelievable fight. I think deserves a rematch personally. I'd love to see Leo get another chance in there. I think he's the type of fighter, although he doesn't have the power to really contend with the Gervonta Davis, I think he's the type of fighter that can push a Gervonta Davis because he's going to apply that pressure. And I think we saw that through those first 5 rounds. He just didn't have enough to stay in there.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's y'all think? What's y'all thoughts about Davis after that fight? Where does that put him, in the ranks? Is he, one of the next big fighters to really keep an eye on right now? Jump ball for anybody to take this one.
I don't think so. But go ahead, G. Go ahead, G.
No, I have to agree with you. So go ahead, man.
Yeah, I don't think so. In my opinion, that was his first real fight, and he still fought a guy that I feel like everybody knew couldn't hurt him, but he has to fight somebody. I mean, the whole Mayweather camp is holding him back, and that's a real thing. It's a couple guys out there that he could. Devin Haney, Gary Russell. He don't want none of the bigger names, but you got to beat one of the big dogs for me to say you're the guy. I mean, I still feel like you fought a smaller guy that you knew. I mean, it was indicative of how he fought. Like, he stood in there in battle. I mean, he stood in there. He ate a lot of punches. He got lumped up, but he was never once hurt. But he was hit a lot. You're not going to do that with some of those other guys around that 135 mark. So, not yet. I need to see him fight somebody else. I'd love to see Gary Russell, you know what I'm saying, and then move up from there, but not yet.
Yeah, definitely some names to watch. Definitely some names worth mentioning. If y'all not already, go ahead and follow Junior the Golden Boy. That's our resident boxing expert for Gas. And go ahead and follow us on the gram. Of course, we're gonna keep you posted on all the latest as these fights come along and these big time knockouts. But as we always do, we're gonna swing our way into the NFL. Kind of got something, just like we did last week. We're going to get into some of our biggest takeaways from the NFL weekend. So, Bryce, you might as well go ahead and lead us off with one of your takeaways.
All right, well, my first takeaway, and I think some people will be surprised at this one. I still think it's too early to judge the Cam Newton-Bill Belichick experiment. And here's why. I watched the last game versus the Bills very closely, and I understand that in these last 3 games, the difference between the Patriots winning and losing has been Cam Newton turnovers. I get that. But in that last game against the Bills, I felt like on that last drive, the Patriots found the formula. They figured out exactly how to use Cam. And with a minute left in the game, they were driving all the way down the field, all the way into the red zone, of course, until the fumble happened. So my first takeaway is I will not yet judge the Cam Newton-Bill Belichick experiment. I'm giving it the whole year. And I still could see them. I know it sounds crazy right now, but I could still see them going on a run and possibly making the playoffs. I don't see this team tanking in any way. I don't think they're going to run off 5 straight losses. I don't think that's what Belichick is about. I'm holding off to judge Cam Newton and Bill Belichick experiment. I know you guys probably think I'm crazy for that one, but I'd love to hear you guys take on that.
But honestly, I wouldn't write them off all the way yet, but doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. It doesn't. It just doesn't. Like, I'm hearing stats out there, like amount of touchdowns that he's thrown to actual wide receivers. And, it's like non-existent. And last couple games, it's just been big moments. He's come through and it's been rough. But it just doesn't seem like they have it. I thought they were going to potentially have a chance to be in the very race for the division, but that Bills loss puts them, I'd say, pretty much out of the division race. If they were going to have to make it, they're going to have to make it as a wild card. Luckily, there's an extra playoff spot, but, I'm not too optimistic about that. And that was my Super Bowl pick, but I'm not jumping off the bandwagon yet. I feel you, Bryce. Let me give it a couple more weeks. T, what you think about that?
I don't know about where this thing will end, but Cam Newton won't be their starting quarterback next year. Even if they make the playoffs, I think there'll be a move to be made, and they'll get a win next week, right? I think they got the Jets. That's the perfect team coming off a loss. We'll know right away. If you come out, you lose that one, the experiment's done. But I think Cam will be all right. I don't know. He'll end up somewhere else next year. I'm not gonna say the experiment's over just yet, but by week 16, it's a wrap. Like, Cam's done, man. I think we've seen what we can see out of that marriage.
I don't know though. How about him? If he doesn't do well, does he get another contract somewhere else? Gee, do you think this is the last stop for Cam if he doesn't perform this season? I think that's probably realistic, right?
I don't. Nah, 'cause I still think Cam's gonna be a Patriot next season. Because we all could agree that the Pats have no weapon, no offensive weapon for Cam whatsoever. None of those running backs are working out, and none of the receivers are there for him. And he doesn't even have a tight end, a legit tight end that can help him out. Because a quarterback's favorite weapon should always be a tight end. He doesn't even have one as a safety blanket. So I think the experiment isn't over. I think next year we're going to find a definitive answer whether he's a Patriots or in the NFL. Period. Next year.
Okay, all right. So that sounds pretty good. Bryce, go ahead, take us away with your second biggest takeaway of the weekend.
All right, so my second biggest takeaway of the weekend is y'all know how I feel about the top running back, the top dog at running back in NFL right now. I firmly believe it's Derrick Henry, and I still believe that, but it's somebody creeping up on him. That boy Dalvin Cook is creeping up on him right now, man. I don't know if you guys got a chance to check out the Vikings over the weekend, but Dalvin was unstoppable. He was getting anything he wanted. I mean, every touch was 5 or more. It felt like. Honestly, it felt like every time he touched the ball, he might just go to the house. This is a guy that had to, try to fight for his money in the offseason. They didn't want to give it to him. And I think that he's proven this year why he's worth it. And I mean, at this point, I really believe, we got 3 running backs that, how they say 1A, 1B. I think we got a 1A, 1B, and 1C situation with Dalvin Cook entering the mix. I don't believe I had him in my top 5 running backs when I ranked them this offseason. That was a mistake. He should have been in there. Dalvin Cook, one of the best running backs in the league. And when it's all said and done at the end of this season, if he keeps performing like this, I might just have him up at the top spot. I mean, I think he had 163, 3 tuds. He's already had a game with 180 this year. Had another game where I was around 140 with 2 touchdowns. He's killing it. Every time he gets over 20 carries, he goes over 100 yards. The Vikings will be smart to keep feeding that man.
Yeah, and they fed him in multiple ways. 30 carries, 163 yards. He accounted for all 28 of the Vikings' points. He was also their leading receiver with 63 yards. Did anyone have this guy in fantasy football? Jeez.
I didn't play against him either, so I was lucky there. But those are Madden numbers, man. Those are video game numbers. And I don't know if I'm gonna put him in the top 5 running backs, but what he did something special that day. You know what I'm saying? He 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's a crazy performance. But you can't give the guy 30 carries a game every game. That's just not a reality. But hats off to Cook, man. Cook over Henry. That's what Rome said.
Hey, my boy Rome, fresh out the voting line. Shout out to Rome, man. Waited all day to pass that vote. You the real MVP, dude.
I mean, you would think, right, with Jefferson over there, Thielen, your franchise quarterback and Kirk, and then a running back like that, you can put it together and get more wins than what they're doing. But it's not working, man. For whatever reason, it's not working. They got a win, a big win, but yeah, I don't know.
Gee, Dalvin Cook, elite, one of the best of the best.
Dalvin Cook is what I consider the reverse Derrick Henry. He is great in the beginning of the season. Come November, December, that man is nowhere to be found. It's not because he's not that kind of athlete. It's because he gets hurt. That's the reason why they didn't want to give him the money. It's like come November, December, he is like the Dallas Cowboys. He gets hurt, and everything just goes down to shit. Like, he's my reverse Derrick Henry. Like, you know how we had the reverse Flash? That's the reverse Derrick Henry right now. He's going to give you these great numbers, but come November, mid-November or December, my man gets hurt, and he's nowhere to be found. And Derrick Henry is a top 5, but to say he's 1C or 1B, kind of reach, man. That's a reach, my boy. Especially if you're not healthy in November, December in the playoffs. Like, that's not a reach.
All right. I'm glad you adjusted yourself because that game was on November 1st. But, yeah, I guess we'll wait to see on that one. We'll definitely be waiting to see what kind of, second half of the season Dalvin Cook has. And we'll see if he still remains one of the cream of the crop at the running back position. But, Bryce, pretty 2 good takeaways so far. Go ahead and close us out on your third takeaway from the weekend.
All right, man. My last takeaway, I'm disappointed with the NFL, right? Because, they always talk about player safety. But when you see these fines come out, it has nothing to do with anything but player control. I don't know if you guys saw this, but James Conner, Juju Smith-Schuster, both were fined $5,000 for wearing their socks a little bit too low. And it was, when I say a little bit, it was about this much too low on their socks. Totally ridiculous. On the other hand, you got guys week in and week out snatching off chains off each other's necks, right? Now think about this. You got a gold medallion chain on your neck, about this big, right? About this big on your neck. You get tackled to the ground, and that gold medallion shoots through your Adam's apple. What now? What we talking about player safety? You know what I mean? Like, these are actual hazards, and they're not only happening on the field with guys, snatch them off each other, but it could actually be an actual hazard because of the way the game is played. And I just think, like, the NFL got to stop with the pettiness. And I'm tired of seeing, fines for socks when guys can wear chains and fights are started because of them. Let's do something about that, and let's get to real player safety and stop trying to just control guys for the sake of controlling them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to say about that. That seems pretty stupid, especially because the size of these fines are like enough to put me out of a house and home for the most part. So, anybody else got anything to chime in about these sock fines? These are ridiculous.
Well, if y'all saw the fight, right? Y'all saw the fight.
We all saw the fight.
My boy Wims on the Bears and it was Gardner Johnson from the Saints.
CD Deuce.
Over a chain, man. Chain snatching. You know what I mean? If you eliminate the chains, there's no chains to snatch, right?
Man, I done heard that story 3, 4, 5 different ways. I've heard he snatched his mouthpiece. I've heard it so many different ways. But what I will say is, punching somebody's helmet, probably not the best way to go. If you and if your man is in a fight, don't jump on the guy's back like you're his girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna rumble. Don't jump on the man back and pull his hair and that sort of thing, man. I thought the whole thing looked a little sissified to me, man. You got a guy getting slapped, looking around. It was all comedy, man. It was comedy.
Word. It was comedy, man. It was craziness. Well, that's pretty solid 3 takeaways. I'm gonna buck the order a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna jump into mine, and then we're gonna get to the rest of y'all real quick. But shoot, my biggest takeaway, I guess I'll go with the biggest first. But my biggest takeaway of the weekend was that the Steelers are the best team in football, definitively. Now, with that being said, I believe that making a run in the NFL is about time, it's about opportunity, and it does involve a little bit of luck. But as of right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are the best team in football. I said the only team that I could really see coming out of the AFC besides them would be the Chiefs in a shootout type of game. But right now, the Steelers got the culture. They got the pieces. It seems like it's a sum of the parts type of situation, not just like a flash of a couple superstar talents. They seem to have a really deep roster, culture, everything that you really need for a great team. What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I don't know. They're not better than the Chiefs. They're not. I mean, they're 7-0, right? They beat Tennessee, who's had their struggles, but it's, all right. That's their one solid win in my book. I don't really count the Ravens. We'll get to that later. But other than that, they beat Cleveland. That's their biggest win. Other than that, I don't think they can beat Patrick Mahomes. They got a hell of a defense. They got a bunch of weapons on offense. I want to see them play the Chiefs, and then I'll decide what's what. I'm not going a rivalry game, a division game. Those go either way. I'm not going to definitively say they're the best team in football.
Hey, in the words of T-Pain, all they do is win, 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 no matter what. So that's got to count for something.
I'll say one thing about that though. Let me jump in real quick, man, because I feel what T's saying. They haven't had crazy competition yet, but they've done it with a rotating cast, man. It seems like every week somebody one of the Steelers' weapons is out. It's James Conner for a second. It's been Deontay Johnson. It's been Juju had to sit. I think Juju had to miss maybe one game. It seems like whoever they got, they're able to put the pieces together, and Big Ben's able to find them. I think that Big Ben is proven to be the catalyst, and as long as he has a few athletes around him and an O-line that's protecting him, he can get the job done on the offensive side.
Yeah, a lot of people sleeping on Big Ben this year, and nobody was really talking about him.
Now, will that defense hold up is the question. Losing Devin Bush is going to end up being huge, man. Devin Bush, one of the best young linebackers in the game. Last game didn't look like they missed him too much, but that could become a thing.
I don't know. They did slow down the Ravens, who have a pretty good rushing attack, and then they did keep the big bull Derrick Henry.
I don't know about that because
the quote unquote.
They didn't
Dobbins
slow
went like
down.
115. I say Dobbins went 115, and Gus Edwards had like another 80. I saw Lamar Jackson scampering out there. I don't know if they slowed it down. They did enough to win.
They did enough to win. Exactly. That's not the
dub.
game they wanted to play. They got the dub.
Derrick Henry under 100 though. All right, yeah. Our resident Steelers fanatic chimes in. Thank you, Hansel. Anybody else want to chime in on the Steelers being the best team in football? Speak now.
Crown them. You want to crown them? You crown them.
Yeah, because I can't. You're gonna have to
mid-season crowns. They don't have. They're only like Burger King crowns. They get wet in the rain and then they disintegrate. They're not real crowns. Real crowns are given in the playoffs. You feel me?
Yeah, that's true. Do they have enough though? Do they have enough? Like on the offensive side, part of me feels like they have enough. I don't know though, man. Like,
are they peaking too early?
Right. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It's about timing.
When I look at that offense, I felt like Eric Ebron coming in was gonna give them a little more oomph, man. I think they're missing that big time tight end. And once you get to play, the Chiefs and teams like that are going to shut down your number one weapons. Chase Claypool is not going to be running up and down the field on the Chiefs. They're going to have to find some different ways to move that football. But like I said, man, Big Ben, I'm not going to bet against him right now. The way he's looking, he's looking like he's back to being one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, okay, I like that. All right, so here's my the second biggest takeaway. And I'm gonna play off, stuff still matters. People be talking about, everything, the divisions are like people are trying to get rid of divisions and stuff. But my second biggest takeaway of the weekend is that division rivalries still matter in the NFL. Yeah, division rivalries still matter in the NFL. Good old-fashioned division rivalries. What did I tell G? I told Geraldo personally before the game that the Vikings were probably going to beat the Packers. They were definitely going to cover the spread on them boys. Something about division rivalries, it just always clicks. You got the Bills finally triumphing, you know what I'm saying, in their division. You got a lot of good matchups this weekend. The Steelers, as good as the Ravens have been in the last couple of years, when you go against a team like the Steelers, the rivalries matter, man. Division rivals still matter. Divisions still matter. So that's my second biggest takeaway of the weekend.
Divisions matter. Every division except the NFC East.
Right.
Dumpster fire.
I mean, I think divisions matter from a ratings point of view, but when we get to watch years of the Bills playing the Dolphins twice a year, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't help the league. It doesn't help the ratings. Games get blacked out. I mean, I understand that's how they do it now, but hopefully somebody can be more progressive and come up with a better system because it doesn't always work.
It's not about ratings, though, T. It's about the other team just having a little edge on you, just because they know you so well. It's like, like anybody can speak to this. When you play a division rival, it's just like, all right, whatever you think is going to happen, it's probably going to be going out the window. It's probably going to be a more competitive game than you think. Sometimes a team that's like literally, we're looking at the Vikings, who are a 1-5 team entering the game, going against a 5-1 team. No one's going to pick that game on paper. But you realize when you sit down and you look at it, that Vikings-Packers rivalry, it runs deep. It's history. It's like, Green Bay, you know what I'm saying? Brett Favre left there to go play for the Vikings. Like, that's the ultimate fuck you to the Packers fans. That's part of the division rivalry. It's like T.O. going to the Cowboys. Like, this stuff, like, it matters, dog.
I mean, you're also talking about a team that in Green Bay that underperformed and a team in Minnesota that's been underperforming and they played to their ability. So I don't know if that was necessarily because of the rivalry, but you might be onto something.
No, I
Did
think
you pick him in the pick 'em? That's all I need to know.
I think you might be on to something though, and I think one of the things that it highlights is how close that all these teams in the NFL actually are. Unlike the NBA, like we see it all the time, you got 5-6 teams you already know are going to be there at the end. The NFL is really any given Sunday, and that's because the margins are so slim when it comes to who's better than who. Like these teams, even the best team in the NFL, which right now let's just say it's the Chiefs over the last 2 seasons, right? I could even see the Chiefs losing to the Vikings. You know what I mean? Like on any given Sunday. Like I can see these things happening because I really do believe that although some of these teams do have firepower, they do have superstars, man, it's a very, very small margin. Man. These teams are a lot closer than other sports leagues, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna round off my last takeaway since we're talking about divisions being dumpster fires. I'm going to talk about the king of the NFC East dumpsters. I'm going to talk about the Eagles. I'm going to talk about one particular player on the Eagles because there's been plenty of lowlights for our season. But I'm going to talk about one player that's been a standout, and this kid's a dog, man. Like Travis Fulgham. I want to talk about Travis Fulgham, man. If you got Travis Fulgham in fantasy football, you are a happy man. Yo, I just want to say about this kid, Travis Fulgham. This dude just completely came out of left field. Nobody knows who he was before the season. We had picks on picks of receivers. And then this dude, Travis Fulgham, came in and literally just caught everything that came his way. In a couple games, he's got 435 yards and 4 touchdowns. We're talking about over the length of about 5 games there. Pretty solid. He's had double-digit, targets in a couple games. He put up big numbers, 78 yards, 73 yards, 75 yards, 152, 57 yards, a touchdown in 4 out of 5 games that he's played so far. My biggest takeaway from the weekend was that Travis Fulgham is a certified number 1. He's not a certified starting receiver in the NFL. Let's just say that. He's a certified starting receiver, and he's a certified dog. So I just want y'all to put some respect on Travis Fulgham's name.
Hey, Scrub, you my man, 100 grand, bro. But read back those stats again and just take out that game with 152. I'll do it for you. 57, 75, 73, 78. Yeah, definitely a solid number 3. Solid number 3 receiver.
No, you tripping. Those numbers, if you take out that game, those numbers still put you over 1,000 yards for the season.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not denying it. You're right. It still puts you over. But are you going to get 75 every single game? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Take out that 150. Those numbers look a little more pedestrian, if you ask me.
I mean, it's 75 every game except one, and then it's a touchdown with it. So it's like, if you got the fantasy, you're happy.
The low game he had, he only had 3 targets. It was his first game on the squad, and that was against the 49ers. So I'm just saying, put some respect on the kid, Travis Fulgham.
T also told me earlier that Dante Pettis, should have been a star in this league. So I don't know, man.
The story isn't over for Dante Pettis.
We'll see, man.
Oh man.
But nah, shout out Travis Fulgham, shout out Old Dominion. Went there one time, had a fucking blast. Great school, great time, good vibes. Some baddies out there. G, why don't you why don't you give me your 3 takeaways for the weekend?
My 3 takeaway, Tom Brady. My first one is Tom Brady starting to look like the smartest guy to leave the Patriots and not staying there another year. That's my biggest takeaway. The way that Cam Newton just doesn't have no kind of weapons. And look at him flourish now in Tampa with all those weapons. It's not a game it looks like he can't lose right now. And shit, he's about to get AB within not this week, right? Or next week?
Man, I believe that's like week 9. But yeah, next week.
Yeah, next week he gets AB. Oh, Jesus, man, what is he gonna do? Like, it's gonna look like that year when he had Randy Moss.
Yeah, I mean, he's already got great receivers. Then you throw in Antonio Brown. I mean, yeah, it's looking good. He's definitely probably loving that warm weather. It's about to get real ugly in New England in terms of the weather.
AB in the slot? That's crazy.
AB in the slot is a scary sight, man.
That's crazy, bro.
AB in the cut.
Bro, and then he has Evans. Oh, my God. And the outside. Oh, my God.
And then he has Godwin.
Scotty Miller with AB? Oh man, no man.
I mean, we can talk a lot about weapons, but that first half against the Giants didn't look all that convincing.
Fact.
Hey,
Yeah.
listen. The Giants defense is ranked. I believe they're the top 10 ranked defense this year so far.
Maybe
Put
they
some
might be 9.
respect.
They might be 10.
It don't matter. But put some respect. Got to put some respect on that defense. Yeah, that defense has been playing legit. There's been games that it's just the offense can't get it together.
Now the defense has been playing legit. One of our columnists on the corner, Chris Scribble-Holt, been speaking very highly of James Bradbury having one of the better seasons for a corner out of everybody in the league right now on obviously a terrible team. G, go ahead. What's your next takeaway?
No, taking shots, Mister. Nick Foles is my savior. Fuck out of here. My second one is gonna be all these teams that were contender could actually lose any given Sundays. Look at the Bengals. I did not see that happening. The Viking games, I wasn't even counting on that to happen. Like a lot of these other games, is just like what. And shit, I thought Lamar Jackson was gonna win. I didn't think the Steelers were gonna win. A lot of these contenders looking like pretenders right now. Because even with the Rams when they lost to Miami, I'm like, wow, are you really gonna lose to Miami against a rookie quarterback?
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy weekend, man. Real.
I mean, that was gonna be one of my takeaways, man. Tua got his first W, but yeah, you just don't know with football. It's honestly the hardest sport to bet on, man. If you're a sports bettor, you probably really know that. It's hard to measure the analytics. Anything can happen, man. Weather conditions. Now we got COVID in the mix. You just don't know, man. Coaches are crazy.
That's facts. But bro, I'm done with the Rams, bro. After I watched too much of that game, I'm just looking at this team like Jared Goff, joke.
He threw for about 360.
Yeah,
he threw 60 passes.
Yeah, I'm about to say 360 and 360 felt like 180. You know what I'm saying? Because like all them yards, a lot of those yards were empty yards, and he was throwing picks at horrible times, turnovers at horrible times, man. Did you see the fumble they took to the house that he fumbled? Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous, bro. Jared Goff. I'm done with the Rams, bro.
Yeah, I was saying the Rams were fakers. I'm not believing in them right now either. So I feel you right there. I'm with you on that. G, you gave me 3. Would you got one more? I lost count.
And my last one is Lamar Jackson's last year was an anomaly. He is not playing up to par. I think he should be playing better than he did last year when it comes to passing, and he has not shown me that this year so far. I think last year's was a straight anomaly, and that right now he's not looking like the guy we all projected to be a top quarterback or a top 5 nonetheless. He's not looking like that guy right now.
Not we all.
Except for T. Clearly, T knows who to hate on and who not to. And who
I told you that guy could not throw the ball.
Yeah,
but
that last. Go ahead, man. Jesus, help me, fellas. Help me understand this Lamar Jackson that we're watching.
Bryce?
I don't think it's that. I don't think Lamar Jackson cannot throw the ball. I've seen him make too many perfect passes, and he does it when it matters. I mean, if you look at that Steelers game, his arm was literally what kept him in the game. But like when it mattered down the stretch, he was making the throws he had to make to keep his team in the game. I'm pretty sure that the touchdown that put him over top was a passing touchdown. Remember, he ran one, they called it back. He came back and threw one into the end zone. I think Lamar Jackson can pass the ball, but he's not in a high volume passing offense. And I also think that he's not in one of those passing offense that gets you all those easy completions. You know, I mean, I don't see a ton of don't get me wrong, they do a good amount of slants, but their short yardage is on the run game. They're looking for splash plays out the passing game. They're not looking to just small plays, keep the chains moving through the passing game. It's either we're getting chunk yards in the passing game, we're going to keep these sticks moving with the run game. That's their philosophy. Now, I think his numbers may reflect their philosophy more than it reflects his ability.
Well, why would we be catering an offense to his ability if that's not all he could do? You know what I'm saying? That's who he is. He's a run first guy, and he can make a few passes. But if he has to drop back and throw the ball 30, 40 times, if he has to play from behind, he's not going to beat you. He hasn't shown that he can beat you. Call me a hater, but when I see it, then call me a hater.
No, I agree with you, T, on this one because technically the Ravens have some of the best. They have a top 5 tight end in Mark, and then they have Marquise Brown. I thought he would have elevated to at least a top 10 receiver this year. He doesn't even look like that. Like this, Marquise Brown is an elite receiver. If a couple of the passes that he could have found him open, he just underpassed it or overpassed Marquise Brown. Lamar Jackson's not looking like the guy, man.
I gotta disagree. I gotta disagree with saying he's never done it. You know, he has done it. He has done it. I've seen him. I mean, he opened the season doing it. You know, he opened the season lights out passing the football. I truly do believe.
Wait, but who did he play during this opening season?
I believe it was the Browns. But you know, hey, a lot of people are high on the Browns. Right? he 38-6.
You love the Browns.
I mean, how about he does love the Browns? And he was saying how NFC North is one of the best divisions now, all that because of the Browns. So you know, we can talk trash about the Browns when it works for the argument. But I do think you guys do have a point. You know what I mean? Lamar Jackson is not very far along as a passer. You know, he's got to still be brought along further as a passer. He still has room to grow as a passer. But to say the guy can't do it, man, I don't buy that. I don't buy that for 1 minute. You guys remember the game where he had like a million drops, bro? He was just dropping dimes, and Bama was dropping them left and right.
That was a playoff.
Right. No, that was a playoff. And that happened this season too. And it's just like, you know, I do agree with you guys. Lamar Jackson should be better at this point. You know, he should have some better passing numbers. But look at that philosophy, man. Look at the plays they call it, man. I don't think they're looking for him to be this crazy passer. And another thing that might be stunning his growth a little bit. The fact that they didn't get out in front of it and just let him throw 40 attempts a game so he can get his feet wet in that way. You know, it could be stunting his growth just a little bit. I think the philosophy is what's really holding him back when it comes to his passing numbers.
Mm-hmm. Might need more attempts. Might need to get in that rhythm. I
think they have no confidence in him being able to drop back and pick teams apart. And until he shows it and maybe practice, I know we didn't have a preseason. Maybe preseason, they're going to run the ball. They're going to draft linemen. They're going to draft running backs and tight ends and maybe get them a receiver. But Hollywood was mad. Hollywood tweeted something like, "What's the point of having dogs if you're not going to use them?" Like, that's the offense.
Hey, we reading deep into that. I mean, that could be a shot at Lamar. That could also be a shot at the coaching staff saying, "Why we got Lamar Jackson? You're not letting him let it rip." I don't know.
Could be interpreted either way. So
Touche.
I had to play devil's advocate there.
Could
that
be.
was good.
Could be.
That was a very, very cryptic tweet. That was very, very hard to determine.
Hey, one thing
bring us home, man.
Oh, my bad.
My first takeaway is
them cryptics, man. They do be having some deeper meanings, man. They do be having some deeper meanings.
You just don't know, man. Them tweets, man. Them subtweets.
They always
we'll find out if he doesn't get a ball pass to him.
Yeah, we'll see how many targets he gets this week.
All my cryptic tweets are for somebody.
This brings me. My first takeaway is in that same vein. It's not really Lamar Jackson, but it's what are the Ravens? You know what I'm saying? What do we expect out of the Ravens? I don't think that they can make a playoff run. I think they'll beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. They'll beat the bad teams, but I don't know who they are. They have the Colts this week. I'm picking them to lose.
Yeah, I know who they are. They're that team that makes the playoffs, that like will make the playoffs like definitively, but like whether they make it past the first, second round doesn't really matter. That's who they are.
I mean, you have the MVP, the league MVP, right? Like you should be a Super Bowl contender. I don't know.
He's last year's MVP, so it's a whole new year. You're in the MVP this year.
This season, the Ravens only beat. I mean, they lost to the Chiefs. Like the big teams, they've lost to. So, Colts. We'll see what happens this week. Which brings me to my second takeaway. I am on board with the Colts, and I know there's a lot of Phillip Rivers hate. He's the Black Jameis. I get that, but when he's on, and that defense is playing like they play, that's a tough team to beat, man. That's when Phillip Rivers is not turning the ball over, that's a tough team to beat, and that's a team you would hate to run into in the playoffs if they're hot.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more with that.
And when my eyes aren't open, they're closed, my friend. I'm just saying. Like, what are you saying?
Hey, but no, he bring up a good point because he focused on that defense, you know, and I think that gets lost by a lot of people. They paid the big bucks to DeForest Buckner over the offseason. That seems to be working out. And let's not forget about who I believe is the best linebacker in the NFL.
Darius Leonard.
Darius Leonard was flying last game. He had been out of maybe 3-4 games before that. Oh man, but he did it all last game. No one at the linebacker position can cover, can thump, and can rush the passer. All three of those things combined from Darius Leonard, man, he's a rare breed, man. Rare breed.
So we have no faith in the Colts? None?
I got a little bit. I don't got a lot of faith in Rivers, but I got some faith in the Colts, man. I got faith in that defense.
So if they beat
Colts,
the
Ravens, same thing. Who cares?
If they beat the Ravens this week, that won't mean anything?
Both of those teams will make the playoffs and not do shit.
Fair enough. All right.
Maybe they were quarterback away. I don't know. So
my third takeaway is it was really going to be Joe Burrow because I watched this tape and it was amazing. But this other guy put on better tape. But is it time to start mentioning DK with the Hopkins and the Julios and the Antonio Browns of the world? Like, is it time to put DK up there with those guys?
Absolutely. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I'll jump in first. Absolutely it is. Because, like, bro, first of all, just something. This is what I look for in my personal scouting approach. So, like, all y'all scouts out there, don't steal this from me, all right? I'm not a football scout. I'm a basketball scout. But I'll tell you what I look for. I look for things that you can't teach, all right? You can't teach being that fucking big, that fucking strong, and being able to jump like that with that kind of a 40, and just the way he pushes the separation on him, and then he just uses his body to get, and then he's got the dude throwing the perfect dimes to him. So, like, he's got all the perfect conditions and perfect storm to be one of the elite in the league, and I think he is already. So
I don't know, man. Slow your horse a little bit, man. What happened the week before DK just went off for what he went off for? You know who went off the week before? Tyler Lockett might have had the best receiver game in fantasy football all season with like over 20 yards, 3 touchdowns. And you know why? Because Russell Wilson is the catalyst, man. You give Russell Wilson any of these top 25, top 30 fringe receivers, they're going to instantly look like top 10. And that's just how I feel. I mean, Doug Baldwin, what do you guys think Doug Baldwin? I love Doug Baldwin. I love his game. But what do you think he would have been without Russell Wilson? I don't know. I'm not trying to call it. I'm just not sure. If let's just say if Kirk Cousins were thrown to Doug Baldwin, I'm not sure we have the same results. And I think Russell Wilson is a big reason. I do think DK Metcalf is a dog, certified dog. There's no question. Is he top 5 right now? There's no way in hell. I'm sorry, Ron, but there's no way in hell that DK Metcalf is top 5. I can think of 5 guys off the top of my head right now that are definitely better than him. DeAndre Hopkins, right? Devontae Adams, right? All right, I'm drawing a couple blanks right now.
Michael Thomas.
What was that, G?
Michael Thomas.
Tyreek Hill. You don't tell me DK Metcalf.
Tyreek Hill?
Yes, Tyreek Hill. Absolutely, bro. Like,
I kind of feel like him and Tyreek Hill are the same type of guy. Like,
the only thing is Tyreek Hill has done it game after game after game after game. I agree. DK Metcalf has shown flash of being that type of guy, right? He's flashed. But you got to be consistent.
What do you mean? Got to be consistent. He finished this last year with like 800-900 receiving yards as a rookie, which is pretty good. Right now,
3 other rookies that did that. 3 other rookies did that.
Only him, Debo, and AJ Brown.
Terry McLaurin too. Don't forget.
Oh yeah, and McLaurin. Those 4 dogs. All them guys are dogs.
Deontay Johnson just barely missed it. I think he was like 10 yards away from having his.
Well, we can't mention him then. But
you know
look,
what DJ Metcalf reminds me of? He reminds me of the high school prom queen.
So y'all telling me he's better than Julio?
He looks good. and once his moment of stage gets there
I'm
and it's over with, it's a dub.
I'm
It
telling
ain't
you
worth
right
it.
now, I'm taking DK Metcalf over Julio because Julio don't stay on the field.
Bro, yes, he
Julio
does.
is always hurt.
No, he's not. Julio has 2,000-yard receiving seasons. If
Who,
DK sniffs that,
who has more receiving yards right now?
bro, last year we were saying is AJ Brown better than DK Metcalf? Legitimately, and they went to the same college, and we were wondering, wow, how's AJ Brown was that much better than DK Metcalf? How did we miss that? No, man, like
I didn't miss that.
no, I'm not saying you missed. I'm talking about the world, the NFL world, right? Everyone knew DK had the measurables. Everyone wasn't too sure about AJ Brown. AJ Brown got drafted higher, but when he got into the NFL, it looked like he was way better for a minute. Like I thought that, you know, what I mean? Like based off last season alone, DK is a dog. There's no question, but I don't know, man. I think I'm with my boy Hansel with this one, man. It's too soon for DK, but the future is indeed bright as a light.
I
The
mean,
conversation should be who's better.
I mean, DK is 25 yards off of leading the league in receiving yards. He's 1 yard off of average yards per catch. He is number one for touchdowns. I mean, it's a tie. It's 6 of them, but he has 7 touchdowns.
6 of them, but
hey, it's 7 touchdowns in 7 games, though. You know what I'm saying? He's on pace for 16 touchdowns. Like, he's on pace for 1,400 yards. I don't know.
He's a dog, bro. There's no
he's
question.
On pace for better numbers.
Okay. Take him off the Seahawks. Take him away from Russell Wilson, bro. Let's just say that for a second.
How are we going to do that?
No. This is what you got to do though, because you got to factor in that if he was playing with Stephon Diggs leading the league in receiving yards right now, right?
Yeah. No. Hopkins.
Okay, so Hopkins just overtook him. He wasn't sniffing that with Kirk Cousins. He was up there, top 10, top 15, but he wasn't in that number 1, number 2 range, right? Sometimes situations, you know, make guys look a little better than they are. DK Metcalf, certified dog, but I think Russell Wilson is just helping him get that shine right now.
DK is doing this with 20 less catches than these guys.
He's a deep threat and certified.
No, and that's what I thought, right? That's what I thought too, until I watched the 49ers game and I realized he's an underneath threat because guys are playing 10 yards off of him. If anything he runs inside, he's open. He runs a slant, he's open. He runs a little curl, he's open. Guys are so scared of that speed, they're making him an underneath threat. They took a one-dimensional guy and they added dimension to his game. So I think he's in that conversation. We'll see.
Man, we shall see. We shall see. But I'd say he's up there. You know, he's definitely one of the cream of the crop.
Okay. So, hold on. Let me get to my list. Oh, no, that was my third takeaway. Never mind.
All right, bet. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. T, I think you got something for us on this one, right?
Yeah. Hold up, let me see what we have. Boom, baby. Let's shift this thing back out of football into the NBA, and it's looking more and more like we're going to have this season start around the 21st, 22nd. My birthday's the 21st, to start on the 22nd is perfect. You know what I'm saying? It'd be a nice gift. But it's looking like a league that's probably going to start without its biggest star, LeBron James. So how do we feel about the NBA, you know, the NBA starting with LeBron James? This is becoming more and more reality. I know we touched on it last week, but it's here now. Hasn't been signed off, but all signs point to these guys are starting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with it. I mean, only thing I'm concerned with is, you know, what this is all about. It's all about money, you know. So I'm just concerned that the season is too short, like the irregular season, you know, if you will. Like, how you gonna draft the guys in November? I think middle of November is the draft, right? It's coming up, and then you got to do all these free agency signings, trades, all of the processing of all the players, and then you got to integrate all the pieces together in a short time, and then the whole reason they're trying to get this slided up is for the ratings. Now, I don't know who's going to be playing on the. They better have a really good slate on Christmas, because without LeBron, you know, that's a big part of your ratings right there. And I think the last thing the NBA wants is for another ratings tank after would you say is pretty low ratings, I would say, during the playoffs.
So you feel like they're gonna lose potentially. They stand to lose money, lose ratings without having a king out there. Week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe.
They got to have enough matchups that you don't even notice that he's not playing. And then what you don't want is to have a depleted matchup. Those are the matchups that really, they really piss me off, man. Like, don't set up, like, just be flexible with your schedule. Like, come on, man. Like, don't set up Zion versus somebody, and then like Zion's not there, and then I'm watching like all these scrubs play. Nah, that's not what I signed up for. So, like, if the Lakers are the Lakers are scheduled for a Christmas Day game and LeBron James is playing, I think it's a really good argument to say that they don't even really belong on the Christmas Day schedule. Just tell them to stay home.
What you think,
I've got
G?
to watch so many other guys.
G, what you think? You plan on watching?
Yeah. Why not? Because we getting Steph Curry back, we getting the Splash Brothers back, we getting the NBA back in general. Healthy teams all back. Yeah, why not? I mean, it's gonna suck without LeBron, of course, because it's just AD and a bunch of fucking bums. Unless they get Chris Paul, then never mind. I'm still watching the Lakers play.
That's a good point.
How about you, Bryce? You locked in?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be locked in no matter what. But I think Scrub bring up a good point. It's definitely all about the ratings. But the reason that they can't move it back is I think Scrub was kind of suggesting maybe they do, especially if LeBron can't go. They can't move it back. There's a few big reasons. One, we all know that of all the major sports in America, NBA has the most international reach, right? And this summer, we've got something coming with the most international reach, and that is the Olympics. And you're not competing with the Olympics. I don't care what you try to do. Once the Olympics comes, not only is everybody in America watching it, but everybody worldwide is paying very, very close attention. The NBA won't be able to compete. And on top of that, they're going to have to send a lot of their players. They have to send a lot of their players to the Olympics, right? If they want to keep getting that international recognition. So that's one of the main reasons I feel like the NBA is just like, look, we can't move it back because we can't compete with the Olympics. And if we move it back on top of that, we miss out on $500 million to $1 billion in revenue. That was the last number I heard. They're not missing out on 500 to 1 billion, right? I mean, now players like LeBron, these super max guys, they can look at that 500, that Billy. It's not really going to affect them because they getting their money either way. Like they already paid up. These guys got 100 millions in the bank. Those guys are good, but your 350K, minimum salary guy, he needs that check. He needs that chicken. And I think that's another thing that they got to take into account. I hope they start the season on time. They're just not going to be able to compete with the Olympics in the summer.
Hold on, Bryce. Hold on. I got to disagree with you on that one. This is not the 90s where you need the Olympics. The NBA does not need the Olympics anymore. We could clearly all understand that. Because without the NBA players playing the Olympics, who the hell is watching the Olympics basketball team? I know I ain't.
No, but I mean, like, when I say compete with the Olympics, like, bro, people are going to watch the swimming. Worldwide, they're going to watch Olympic swimming before they watch NBA basketball. I promise you. Like, I feel you.
Not at all. Because you're talking about when the Olympics come on, right? It's going to be in the summer, right? And technically, that's the round during the finals. If we get a good finals matchup against the Olympics, what are you watching? Are you watching the great finals matchups? Or are you watching a bunch of people swimming or trying to do whatever the hell they're doing during the Olympics?
No, I agree with you. I am in your boat, right? But we are Americans that live in America, right? I'm talking about the dude in China. I'm talking about the dude in Russia. I'm talking about the dude in Europe. I'm letting you know they're going to watch the Olympics before they watch NBA basketball. You know why? Because they're going to watch their countrymen before they watch our countrymen. It's that simple.
Right. No, you're right about that, Bryce. That's totally true. Because one
thing
people don't realize about the NBA, they have a big global audience.
Simone Biles on the floor before I watch LeBron pass up game winners. All right.
You don't count, T. You do not count, bro.
I'm watching backhand.
LeBron hater.
Now, but
okay, before he's watching LeBron James play, my man is gonna watch what's the little ones with that little broomsticks and they're trying to curling. My man rather watch curling before he watch LeBron dunk. You don't even count, bro. Come on now.
We all count, especially on a day like today. If you cast your vote, you count. All right.
Yankees, as my Latino brothers would say, we're all Yankees.
Yeah, everybody counts. Everybody needs that representation. Everybody needs that chicken. You feel me? which is a good segue into our next topic.
Well, yeah, that you're right, Scrub. It is, especially talking about international sports, international basketball, especially, man. Because one thing that's a lot bigger internationally than it is, on the home front is women's basketball. They consistently do numbers overseas, at least bigger numbers with rating shares than we seem to do here as far as the WNBA. And because of that, a lot of these WNBA players they end up going overseas during their off season and essentially doubling up, playing for a Tel Aviv or one of these teams on that side and getting that extra chicken. Because at the end of the day, that's all what it's all about when you're doing your profession, right? You do it for the love of the game, but you deserve to be compensated properly. And I do not believe that the WNBA players have been compensated properly as when you kind of measure up what their talent and what their skill level is. Because talent and skill level wise, they are definitely on the same level as NBA players. But the wage gap is getting out of hand. So my question to you, fellas, is what can be done to kind of even that wage gap a little bit? Like what are some steps that can be taken to get more eyes on this great product that is the WNBA, or to possibly improve the product, or anything that will get eyes on it? T, I'm starting with you.
All right, I got some realistic stuff and I got some more out there stuff. And but more realistically, like at the end of the day, the NBA has been trying to market the WNBA, but they got to do a better job of it. Even if that means putting WNBA games right before NBA games. I'll get to the arena earlier. Whatever the case may be, I'm in the stands. You're selling tickets. We're going to revenue share. I mean, people, if you're going to watch the WNBA, you're going to watch it. But at least this way, the ticket sales from one game, you know what I'm saying, can be split between teams within the same city, situations like that. That's one reason, one way. Another thing is they got to make the games more entertaining from a fan perspective. And I think they try to do that, but you got to shoot a lot more T-shirts into the crowd. You got to bring a lot more people. Maybe you need more TV timeouts, but you got to bring people down, do competitions, crazy things like that. I don't know, man. Have little guest coaches that just get to sit on the bench, but the fan experience has to be better than the NBA fan experience if you ever want to compete with that. Another thing they could do, and this is a little bit more radical, right? But increase the ticket prices, but make the games open bar. You gonna get me in there if I can drink. Like that's just me. You're gonna get me in there if I can drink, and if I'm in there, I'm gonna watch the game. It's gonna kind of be like baseball, but less expensive. Like I'm in there, I'm gonna watch the game. Those are my main takeaways. I had a whole list here. Put the games on other networks. Don't just put them on ESPN. Put them on NBC. Let me find these games other ways. Just flip it through the channels. I mean, it's a variety of ways and things that they could do. But, Rome, we already heard that.
Hey, but you make some good points, man. I think we've seen some leagues in the past try to get away with getting gimmicky a little bit to kind of to kind of double up on the eyes that's on them. I think we saw that with like the AAF and with the XFL as well. They were doing a few gimmick things, a few handouts, giveaways, performances from artists, stuff like that to get people in the stadium. I think another thing too that's kind of interesting. When I think back to the NHL, you guys remember when the NHL was losing eyes drastically, man. You know what they did? They started letting Bama's fight in the games again. As soon as they started letting people fight again, people started watching. As soon as they brought back the shootout, people started watching. So I think that's a thing that possibly could be done. I think focusing on some rule changes could be interesting as well. G, what do you think about the WNBA, the wage gap, and how we could possibly close it?
Well, the wage gap is all going to come down to the fans, because you really can't play X amount of money if they're not getting X amount of revenue to support that. So for that, they're just going to have to bring more fans. And even on that, you got to make the game more exciting. Shoot a little bit more threes, do a little bit more dunks. Do what the NBA did originally, right? Cash your biggest stars and throw them in the forefront. Make them the league, not the league make them. If you get what I'm saying? Do what the NBA did back in the 90s with Michael Jordan. but it's gonna have to find that one particular female player to just bring everything to the forefront and make it that much better. Make us more interested on the game, on the product itself. Because if they don't make it interested enough, like what you guys are saying, then none of us are gonna go there to watch. Like they got to give us something that we want to put us right down there to make those women players. Because technically, you hear from LeBron James and other X amount of players, they'll tell you some of the best basketball players are in the WNBA instead of the NBA.
Yeah, and I think you bring up something interesting, man. Especially when you use the word, make us watch. Because I feel like I can go both ways on that. I think you bring up a good point. They do got to do some things to bring us in, but on the other hand, is it their job to like make us aware of this great product? Shouldn't we already know it? And I think it's to some women's sports that I know personally, I pay attention to the women's side of it way more than men's side. One of them is tennis, right? Rarely do I watch men's tennis, but if a Serena Williams is on, if a Venus Williams is on, if a Naomi Osaka is on, I'm tuning in. I'm always tuning in to those, and I feel like those matches are better than the men's matches. One, because the men's matches are 5 sets, which takes forever, 4 hours sometimes. The women's matches are 3 sets. It gets it out the way, quick game. I can digest it nice and easily. And on top of that, those are also athletes that I feel more connected to based off their background, right? I think that's another thing that maybe they could start introducing is not just making the players the forefront, but also focusing in on the stories, honing in on the journeys, So I do think you make a good point, G. Scruff, man, last one. What's up?
I got a couple of ideas, really. In terms of the financial prosperity of the league in period, I believe the only practical way to do this is to make the WNBA part of the NBA in the sense that it's like a subsidiary and there's a revenue sharing model within the league. That way it balances out the revenue because ultimately the balance of the money is basically it's dictated upon the cultural just the way it is, unfortunately. But that's one way you could bring money to the league. With that being said, the women themselves, the athletes that play in the WNBA are grossly underpaid. We've seen a graphic with like Sue Bird, and she's making like, bro, like it's crazy. Like I've had the pleasure of speaking with some pros that played in the WNBA, played 5-6 years. What they making, bro? Really like 40, 50K, like the type of stuff that like college grads make right out of college anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like short careers, if that. A lot of them are going playing overseas during the time to bring extra money in. You see them in broadcasting roles. You see them doing double hustle, man, and it's not fair. So the one easy way that I feel like is a great way you can put money into the players' pockets is through partnerships. It's about branding. It's about partnerships. You have all these different women, like all different shapes and sizes and all different kinds, bro. Like, and that's the beautiful thing about it, especially in today's world. People like seeing that diversity. Like why does the WNBA not have a partnership with like a cosmetic line or like a hair line or like more like clothing brands and like shoes and like more stuff like that, because women are the biggest consumers in the world, especially in the US economy. So with WNBA, there's beautiful WNBA players out there, and there's all different kinds of them out there for you guys. Why not have more partnerships in place where you can put these brands in place, and then people can see that, and that representation matters, and people, you see people like you might, repping these brands, it makes you want to go and buy them too. Like, maybe more signature sneakers, you know what I'm saying? Like for the top stars, like let's see some Brittany Grinders, you know what I'm saying? Let's see some signature kicks for Candace Parker, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure little girls out there would be appreciating that, and they would love to buy them, and they'd be rocking them Jones. If that's your favorite player, Candace Parker, go ahead. Yeah, you rock a pair of Candace Parker kicks. Why not? So I think more branding, more partnerships is the answer to put more money in the players' pockets.
Word. Yeah, I think you bring up some great points there, man. And just to harp on that Sue Bird point you made, Sue Bird, LeBron James, both got 17 seasons in their respective leagues. Both have 4 championships in their respective leagues. One makes $215,000, The other one makes 37.44 million. You know, it's ridiculous discrepancy. And I think you guys make some good points. And I think the biggest thing for me is I think that they got to pull NBA fans in. You know, they got to just pull sports fans in general. I think the best way to do that, in my opinion, is to showcase how how similar the skills actually are, right? Everyone always goes around gloating about how skilled the NBA players are, how they're the most skilled athletes, right? Well, it's the same goes for WNBA athletes, right? So one of my first things I would love to see is let's integrate some of these all-star festivities. Let's integrate the skills challenge. I guarantee you, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, they'll probably dog somebody in the skills challenge. Chances are they'll win it. Let's integrate the three-point shooting contest. Everybody shoots threes, right? They shoot threes in WNBA. They shoot threes in the NBA. All right, let's just have one three-point contest. What do we need two for? You know what I mean? And I think doing things like that, and hey, maybe we even get to the point one day. Like, honestly, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of seeing maybe I don't want to take any flack for this, but I'm tired of having WNBA players in the celebrity game. But let's get a real all-star game where it's integrated WNBA and NBA players. And I'm pretty sure we'll see some ankles broke that we didn't expect to get broke. Like, at least that some didn't expect to get broke. I think we might very well expect it. But I think starting to integrate the games a little bit just so the casual basketball fan can see how the skills are right there. The skills are the exact same skills. And in my opinion, WNBA players, especially the guards, especially like the wing players, are more skilled than NBA players right now, in my opinion. So they're underrated, man. They're very, very underrated. And I think that brings us to our next point, to our next topic.
Yeah. Perfect segue for our next topic. Shout out to everybody that's out there putting in the work in the lab, whatever your bag is, you get into it, you know. So we're going to switch from one bag to another into the world of music because, you know, the world of sports and music are so synonymous. So with that, we're going to get into the most underrated top 5 segment, one of my favorites, but this is going to be an all-time classic. And we're covering the top 5 most underrated rappers. This is a personal list for each of us. Everyone's got their own definitions of underrated. We know T's definition of underrated, so expect heavy hitters on his list. But no, I'm just kidding. We'll see what happens, though, seriously. Top 5 most underrated rappers. T, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Well, you set it up right, you know what I'm saying, because the first guy on my list, and this list isn't in any particular order, and I didn't want to make a list of like truly like underrated guys, so underrated that you don't know who they are. So my list is about people that are underrated for different reasons, and all of them aren't lyrical ability. So my first underrated guy is Cameron. It's Killer Cam, and I'm gonna tell you why he's underrated. Right? Not only is he a good rapper, good albums, funny guy, good movie roles that we remember. But the lineage, and I think a lot of rappers try to create a lineage of rappers underneath them and with their label and that sort of thing. But it doesn't always work. You look at G-Unit, and we really only got 50 in game. But you look at Dipset, you came out of there with Jim Jones, who came out of there with Max B, who came out of there with French Montana, you know what I'm saying? Then you got Joel Santana. Like, Cam put a lot of guys out. I mean, RIP Stack Bundles, Chinks Drugs. Like, there's a lot of guys under that Dipset umbrella. And it really started with Cam. So I put Cam there in my underrated rappers list because when they talk about greatness, he doesn't get mentioned a lot, but he did a lot for music. So that's 5. My number 4 guy is Pusha T, and another guy that's insane lyricist, but I'm putting him there just because he defeated Drake. You know what? In whatever way that you can defeat Drake, because you can't really kill his career because he's a pop star, but he did what Meek couldn't do. You know what I'm saying? He put Drake in a body bag. He zipped him up, sent him home. You know what I'm saying? He did a gender reveal for Drake. You know what I'm saying? Hey, boom, we got a son. This man got a son right here. So Pusha T, that's number 4 for me. All right, number 3, I got Beanie Siegel. And I got Beanie Siegel because we give Eminem a lot of credit for that Renegade track where he stood toe to toe with Jay-Z. Beanie Siegel did that every single time he was on a verse with Jay-Z. Like, there's no drop off. Some of these Jay-Z, Beanie Siegel songs, it's debatable. Some of them you say, all right, Beans got the edge. And when we talk about top 5 MCs, you talk about Jada. Beans battled Jada. He didn't get slaughtered. Like, you got to mention Beans, The Becoming, The Reason, The Truth. He has great albums, great music. Beans is slept on. I mean, if you don't know rap, go back and listen to Beans. If you only know Jay-Z, some of the younger fans. My number 2 guy is Starlito. A lot of people don't know who Starlito is, but he's from Nashville. The last 5 years, he's put out nothing but great music. He has everything you're looking for in an artist: relatability, vocal tone, a flow. His timing is impeccable on every beat. I mean, every beat he's on just sounds better. So Starlito's my guy. Him and Don Tripp usually rap together. His Hot Chicken album, that's a hood classic to me. It's real drug bars, not these fancy prices and tennis shoes and all these clever metaphors that from guys that didn't really do it. I'm not talking about those Buffalo guys, but I'm talking about them. But yeah, Starlito.
Wow.
Starlito really did that thing. And
Are you talking about Griselda?
I don't know how you come for Griselda. Hey, T always got one up his sleeve, man. I swear.
You know what I'm saying? When you know. Like my man Pusha T say, when you know, man. Some people just talk too fly. I know they ain't living. But my number 1 is Lupe, man. Lupe Fiasco is probably one of the greatest MCs to ever touch a microphone. I mean, he's a master lyricist. He's your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. I mean, most guys want to put bars together like him. I mean, he could do anything. He could do trap music if he wanted to. He just put out a song, sound like Lil Uzi Vert. Like, the guy is super skilled and he slept on. He got a classic album, got 2 in my opinion. But, as far as touching the mic, putting bars together, no one that I've heard, maybe a Black Thought, but nobody does it better than Lupe.
Good one.
But that's my favorite.
Food and Liquor is one of my favorite all-time albums for sure.
Yes, sir.
Very slept on. G, why don't you go ahead and give us your top 5 most underrated rappers?
My top five is gonna be Big Crit. I think Big Crit is very slept on. I think he's very nice. Crip is Here is fucking a dope mixtape. If you never heard of it, go back and do your Googles. Listen to that mixtape. It's fire. He was coming up during the Wiz Khalifa era. So this is why he's really slept on. He was coming during when it was Black and Yellow. And then you also had like Big Sean coming up the way too. He was coming during that era. And then my number 4 is gonna be Big L. If you never heard of Big L, see, you said Cameron, right? Cameron's underneath Big L's lineages.
Yeah, Children of the Corn, Murder Mace. I know.
You feel me? And then on top of that, if you don't even know about the hood lingo, listen to Ebonics. He'll break it down. Since 1992, we still use some of that lingo. So listen to Ebonics. If you ever hear somebody say some shit you never heard of, listen to Ebonics. 9 out of 10 times, Big L says something about it. So now my number 3 spot is going to be a lot of people, probably some of you guys heard of them already, Immortal Technique. The first time I ever heard Immortal Technique was during the whole conspiracy era. My friends used to always talk about, 9/11, this is a hoax, this and that. My boy put on some Immortal Technique, and like during that time, Immortal Technique was dropping songs from prison. He's been out for like the last 5 years or so. And if you still could find some Immortal Technique songs, some of the most enlightening songs I ever heard in my life came through Immortal Technique. The dude is from he's Peruvian, Latino dude, super dope, super underrated, but his shit is fire. Fire. If you want to open your mind, listen to Immortal Technique. Dude is super fire. And then that's 3, right? So number 2, my second spot overall, I have to be Lloyd Banks. How dare you in your right mind you say that under 50 Cent it was only the game? Were you crazy?
All we got is Beamers, Benz, and Bentleys after that.
Bro, blasphemous, my boy. Because you have V5, V6, Cold Corner 1 and 2. There's so many mixtapes. How would we have it 1 and 3? against what? I could drop mixtapes when
Look,
it comes
man,
to Lloyd Banks.
I
And we just go bar
uninstalled
for
that
bar.
Tiff a long time ago. All right.
Listen, you can find some of the joints on Apple. My most underrated, you said his name, Max B. Some people from South Jersey hate Max B. Central Jersey, North Jersey, I love Max B. The Wave God, the Silver Surfer, the
Free
main
the wave.
free the wave, free the God. The main reason why I started drinking Hennessy at a young age because of Max B. Shit that I should have been doing is because of Max B. Woo, my man got me into so much shit. That's why I'm a little bit of a little ghetto baby, little dirty baby. Max B was the reason why I did a lot of wild shit. Mr. Blow Me a Dove remix. Ooh,
Blow me a dub.
people said, or Don P. I can't really say all the lyrics of Don P because we might get fired. We might get dropped off the air. This Max B is just so much fire. I don't know why Nick, not to put you on blast, Nick, why my man's on fucks for Max B, but he is the truth. My man was the originator in singing and rapping before Drake. Just remember that, folks.
Yeah, I mean, I feel him, man. I feel him. He's a real wavy dude, man. He just doesn't sound good singing, so I just prefer not to, it just sounds.
It's about the lyrics. It's about the lyrics, man. You got to connect with the music.
Just stay out, I just, like if you can't sing, you don't sing. Just stay in your lane. Like that's just my personal feel. But he's a real wavy dude, so respect to the Wave King. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
He's a legend.
The wave, man.
He's a legend, bro. I'm just saying I'm not listening to that man sing in my ears. Not with my high quality beat headphones. Them shit's gonna sound terrible, bro. It's just what it is.
Oh wow. Well, if you can't rap, if you can't sing, don't sing. Well, to all these dudes that can't rap, don't rap.
Right. Well, if they can't rap, they're not on this list. So that's your 5, right? So Bryce, go ahead and give us your top 5 most underrated rappers.
I think I kind of separated mine into like almost different categories for each one. So first one, I got a guy that is underrated because not everyone's heard of him. But if you're paying attention to the guy's playlist, you know about my guy Rex Life Raj, man. To me, this guy is, quintessential rapper right now. He combines the elements of rapping and singing with the type of content matter that can get people through, and not just the nonsense, fluff. Here listening to fluff all day, right? So number 5, I got Rex. Number 4, I had to go with a hometown hero, man, who I don't think he's ever got the love he deserves, and that's Wale. When Wale came out around the same time as a J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, kind of came up in that little era. And Big Sean, but you don't really usually hear him mention with those guys' names. To me, he's just as good a rapper as those guys. I mean, they're not shoulders above him when it comes to rapping. Wale's wordplay is ridiculous. His metaphors, crazy. The dude doesn't get enough credit. I think a part of the not getting enough credit is he knows he doesn't get enough credit, and he voices that. I think that rubs people the wrong way. But at the end of the day, if you're not getting enough credit, it's okay to let everyone know you're not getting enough credit. Number 3, this is one of my underrated guys that I guess was like, he had his moment and it's fizzled out somehow. And you see a couple of the guys that were around him rise up. That's my man, Rich Homie Quan, man. When it was Rich Homie Quan and Young Thug, you really couldn't tell me that Young Thug was better than Rich Homie at that time. I was sure that Rich Homie was going to be that dude from those Atlantic connections, man. To this day, it's a few Rich Homie songs. Every time I throw them on, I'm just like, damn, how did this dude not last, man? It's still crazy to think about it. But Rich Homie, that's my number 3. Number 2, T, you mentioned them. And it's only because they don't, he said it, man. Top 5, dead or alive, that's just all one LP. People still disrespect them when they do those top 10 lists. And that's Jada, man. Jada is one of the best rappers of all time. I think that verses put a lot into perspective for some people, especially when he was going against a guy that's a little flashier than him, a little more radio hits than him. He held his own, and in my opinion, won in a landslide victory. So Jada's my number 2. And my number 1, if you don't know about, I'm going to say it, one of the gods of rap right now. If you're not hip to Rhapsody, you're lost. Rhapsody is possibly the best rapper right now. Like when I hear her bars and I stack them up next to Cole's and Kendrick's and Wale's and, these guys are supposed to be the top guys. There's no difference in bar quality. There's no difference in flow. There's no difference in cadence. Like, she is a certified dog, man. And the fact that she doesn't get as much recognition as she deserves, I think just lands back to the whole NBA, WNBA, wage gap, right? Rhapsody should be up there and should be revered as perhaps the best rapper in the game, or definitely one of the best in the game. No question. She's not getting her just due. She's not getting her, her flowers, they say, but I'm gonna give them to her today. She's my number one most underrated rapper.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Hey, I got an honorable mention though. My guy Pat Poose, man. Who's heard Alphabetical Slaughter, yo? If you ain't heard Alphabetical Slaughter, yo, when I was like, I think I was like, maybe like 9th, 10th grade, bro. I thought this dude was about to be a beat. Now we see how it ended up. You know what I'm saying? He didn't ride the wave like he should have. But bro, when Alphabetical Slaughter dropped, you couldn't tell me Pat Poose wasn't about to be a dog, bro.
Yeah, nah, he had.
Bro, you ever heard of Raw Library?
Yeah, that's my shit.
Pat Poose is a stay-at-home husband, man. Keep him off your list.
Hey, yo, why you gotta be so disrespectful, T, yo?
Success is how you define it, my man. He might be feeling real good about himself, but that's really none of my business. Let me go ahead and kick off my top 5 list. I'm just saying, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's probably doing all right. But let me go ahead. I got like sections of my list too. So my 5th person is gonna be like a regional kind of underrated dude. To locally, he's a legend. Newark, New Jersey, Sue Surf. Tsunami Surf, known for his
got the battle rappers on there. I love it.
Yeah, known for being a battle rap legend, lyrical, wordplay, all that. He should just drop some recent heat. Good stuff, bro. Good stuff. He's still spitting, bro. He's still spitting. Still got bars. Making a little bit of diverse music now. I like what he's got. Recent album. Check out Sue Surf's most recent. So Sue Surf. Number 4. Is a guy who's like an OG in the game. Sometimes when you're an OG in the game, people know your credentials, they know you're certified, but you just don't get enough love. And that's Bun B, the Trill OG himself. You know what I'm saying? My man said he about to shake these haters off like the skin of a locust. You feel me? Enough said. God. Shake the haters off like the skin of a locust. Oh my. All right, number 3. This guy is underrated because he's unorthodox. You know what I'm saying? Like when you do things a little bit different, your flow is a little weird. A lot of people say his flow is weird. Number 3, Currency. Currency, the hot spitter. Man, this man is a vibe, bro. Like he's literally my life goals. Like you talk about like being successful. Like to me, Currency is one of the most successful people in the game because all he do is smoke weed all day, make music, ride around in hot whips, and chill with his dogs, man. Like that dude's living the life, bro. So I love his flow. I love his unorthodox delivery. He's got hits, bro. He's got hits. It's a vibe, bro. You got to really feel it. Better than Wiz Khalifa, but this is another conversation.
No, you're tripping. I gotta slow you down right there, man. I mean, they make beautiful music together. I almost put Wiz on my list because he's, like you said, he's with Wale, J. Cole, Big Sean. He's more successful than all of them except maybe Kendrick. But they never talk about that.
You can argue that. Well, I got somebody else from that draft class that belongs on the list. And to me, he's the best. To me, I mean, he's up there with J. Cole and Kendrick as the best rapper in the game right now. Personally, he's my personal favorite in the game. I think you know what I'm about to say. Big Sean. Big Sean is one of the most underrated in the game. Most underrated, bro. My man got stuff. And the big thing about Big Sean is the message in the songs. You know, I'm a big person. I believe in, putting good stuff in your body, good music. Literally, Big Sean, one of the most underrated in the game to me. Now, number 1, it's a repeat, man. I didn't think anyone was going to pick this guy because I thought I was the only one that loves Lupe Fiasco, bro. Lupe Fiasco, bro, that's my number 1 most underrated rapper because, like, he's the number 1 most underrated rapper on my list because he literally seems crazy, but like he's like in the GOAT conversation in a way, like of the greatest rappers of all time. He's like one of them, in my opinion.
No,
His
yeah.
Special Flow, bro. His Food and Liquor album was one of the best hip hop albums of all time. That's when I first started getting into writing poetry and rapping, and yeah, we gonna have a playlist. Don't worry, Michelle, we got you. But definitely gonna drop some Lupe on there. Food and Liquor, the Cool album was great. Even the couple other ones, man. He just keeps it coming, bro. Lupe Fiasco, Shot Town, he's a legend. Put some respect on Lupe Fiasco's name. You know what I'm saying? That's all I gotta say.
Scruff, I feel you 1,000%, man. When you're talking about pure rap ability, like you can't really mention a lot of guys in his league. You know, if you wanted to put measurables on it, like he would run a 4.140. He would have a 60-inch vertical. Like the guy is that high above a lot of these other rappers.
Yeah, but his 3-cone drill is real iffy though. His 3-cone drill.
I mean, he has the numbers.
I don't know about his 3-cone, man.
He has international hits. He has national hits. So I'm not sure what he's missing other than that critical acclaim. And he has a Grammy. I'm not sure. Like he doesn't have the appeal of a Jay-Z and Beyonce on his arm, but Jay-Z don't want to get in a booth with that man and just rap.
Nah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I definitely would not go that far.
if you've listened to any real amount of Lupe, you wouldn't even.
You're pressure.
That's like putting me in the ring with a professional boxer. Like it just wouldn't even make sense.
No, absolutely not, bro. We talking about Jay-Z, bro. I've heard enough.
Jay-Z
I've heard more than enough Lupe. I've heard more than enough Lupe to know that he's not, in my opinion, he's not better than Jay-Z, bro. Sorry.
Okay.
Listen to the song called "Pressure" by Lupe Fiasco featuring Jay-Z, in which they both are on the same song, and you can't tell me that Lupe did not bring the lyrical tenacity on that song. He brought it.
So you think Lupe is better than Jay-Z, bro?
I think he's a better.
Jay-Z's my favorite rapper
of all time. I didn't ask who your favorite rapper of all time. I said, do you think Lupe is better than Jay-Z, sir?
Who's a better lyricist?
I try to change it. You try to change my question. No, my question is who's a better rapper, man? Jay-Z.
This is an underrated list. This is for underrated guys, man. Leave Jay-Z out of this.
We start throwing out those comparisons.
You can't just say who's the better rapper because when we say that, like that puts Drake above a lot of other guys because he's way more successful. You know what I'm saying?
He was the most successful. So who's the better rapper? That's a whole other question. I can ask who's the most successful. I don't care about that.
Jay-Z. You don't have to ask like that.
All right. I'm sharpening up on my Lupe bag. You know, I've heard all this, just about all this stuff, but you know, I'm gonna go back and listen some more.
I got an honorable mention too. I got two honorable mentions too. Actually, really just one. But Sheek Louch, man. Niggas talk about Jadakiss. They talk about Styles, and then everybody forgets about Sheek Louch, man. My man got flow. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know about that. Hey, but let's start throwing out some just honorable mentions, man. I got another honorable mention. Shout out to my guy Twister, man. I almost put him on my list. Just because the flow is underrated because it's so impossible to do, man. He's writing 500-word papers in 16 bars. It's not an easy task, bro.
I mean, I think we saw the whole Bone Thugs and Harmony do it. I think we saw Biggie do it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying nobody can do it, but I'm saying Twister was killing it, bro. And that was his only thing, and he had hits, bro, platinum hits. Just you understood about 5 words. You know, I'm gonna make you a celebrity overnight. That's all you heard. But you love that.
That's all I remember. I'm like, okay, he's the original mumble rapper.
Slow jams. That was that word.
The original mumble rapper. That is fact. Hey, another guy, man. Scrub know about him. I'm sure T know about him too, man. I'm gonna catch a little bit of flack for this one. My guy, Fat Trail, man. Fat Trail. That's still my dude to this day, man. We kind of came up listening to him, you know, in my era, being from the DMV.
Isn't he in jail?
You know, he might be. He might be.
No, he home.
Free leash, man. Free leash.
Bitch, I might be.
Nah.
Free leash, man. Fat Trail was a dog in his prime, though. He was a dog.
Yeah, he's a dog. He's a dog, all right, for sure. I've heard crazy things about Fat Trail. I'm not even gonna get into it.
Hey, look, man. But if you want to hear some Fat Trail, man, subscribe to the Gas playlist. You never know what you're going to hear in there. Subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple, Anchor, wherever you get your podcast, man. Download the app. Download the app, Gas Network, Apple, Android. We're in both of those marketplaces. And, you know what I'm saying? Get us wherever you can get us. IG, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you name it, we're there.
Yep, that's at Good Ass Sports on every single platform, and we hard to miss. And if you search at Good Ass Sports and you don't see us, then try Gas Network. Those are the only two names we go by. It's at Good Ass Sports or it's Gas Network. We got the merch too, man. Get you a gas hat. You see Scruff sporting the gas hat. We got the gas bands. We give these out for free. So if you got us on social media, you want one of these bands, hell, you want a hat, man. DM us. We sending free hats for the rest of the night. It's election night, baby.
Get you some gas, man. Gas might be legalized in your city after tonight.
Gerardo, you get frozen like that. I'm gonna draw the images of you just like that.
All right, fellas. Hey, man, let's wrap it up the only way we do it every time. Hey, let me say sports for the culture.
Deportes por la
Sports